Hello everybody, Michael here for Roguedeckbuilder. We are stepping in for Kevin this time, and I'm definitely glad to be here, and I'm really excited to be here. And so if you haven't seen the deck tech to this deck, definitely take a look at it just so you can see what we're sort of dealing with. This is my Evo Aggro deck. This is sort of a fun little counter-based aggro deck that I thought up. It is a Gruul deck and extremely fun to play. This matchup we have is a little bit not really in our favor, but you know we do have a couple of turning points, and it is sort of a close game in certain situations. And considering it was one of the top tier decks, I am definitely happy with how my deck performed against it. There definitely were chances that I could have won, but I think just sort of a couple of misplays here and there, and it sort of sealed the deal for me. A little bit of a spoiler there, and I am doing this I'm doing post commentary. Trying to do live commentary and playing is not really easy for me. I'm still learning as a player, so I definitely take a lot of time to think through my decisions, and it can produce a lot of stale videos, and I don't really want that for you guys. So I definitely wanted to try, and I definitely prefer doing post commentary. It's a little bit more relaxed, and I can concentrate on the game when I'm actually playing the game rather than concentrating on what I'm supposed to say about the game. So yeah, I'm only about 5 months into playing Magic, so I still am a very new player in my opinion, and so definitely feel free to leave suggestions, comments on how I could have played this matchup better, or suggestions just overall on how you think my deck can improve for these matchups, especially sideboarding. I need to learn how to sideboard properly, build sideboards properly, and stuff like that. But let's get on with the game, and let's see what happens. So we are on the play, and it's definitely what we want. This is a really, really good starting hand for us. We can do a couple of things. We could have played Guildgate turn 1 and see what happens, which is what we do, I think. I want to play Gruul Guildgate first, just to sort of get a little bit of information on the deck I'm playing. So we are playing against mono black, and luckily we didn't get for turn 1 Thoughtseize. So here we want to get our Experiment 1 out, and then evolve it with Gyre Sage, and we pull the Gorehouse Chainwalker, which is a sort of a nice evolved progression that I like in this deck, and then play Gorehouse Chainwalker on turn 3, and evolve both Experiment 1 again, and Gyre Sage. So that's just one of the fun little things you can do with Unleash, and considering Unleash has counters on it, it makes Renegade Krasis a lot more effective. So we are playing against Packrat, something that is really, really tough to deal with unless you have some way to get rid of it. And we don't really, but luckily we have Burst of Strength to trick him into attacking into our guys. And he had double Packrats, so he didn't even have to make a copy, which sort of sucks for us, but it's okay. Now we can Gorehouse Chainwalker. I do this pre-combat because I want to get the evolve triggers off before I swing in, because I know he's not going to trade with the Packrat, so I want to get the most damage in as possible. I want to try and erase him at this point. And even if he does have a lot of Packrats and he has to force a block or something like that, we can Gruul Charm and just swing in through his guys. So we get both evolve triggers off, and making Gyre Sage a 2/3 and Experiment 1 a 3/3, so we get a swing in for 5 damage, which is really, really nice. And then we still have 1 mana up to leave up for Burst of Strength, which is exactly what I wanted. I knew he was probably going to swing in with his Packrats now that they're 3/3s, thinking that they are safe from, the rest of my guys, because my guys are only, highest is 3/3, but this is pretty much the perfect situation for my Burst of Strengths, and it's as a permanent 1 counter on Gyre Sage, which is nice, so producing extra mana if we need to. I need to start using Gyre Sage more defensively and to produce mana for things like Clan Defiance. I tend to use Gyre Sage more for attacking, and he does concede here because he knows he can't outrace me at this point. So sideboarding, I didn't really know what else I could sideboard in. I didn't see too much removal. My mistake was I probably should have removed the range. I probably should have sideboarded in the Ranger's Guile the moment I knew we were playing mono black. I should have just assumed he was playing a lot of removal. And we bring in the Lightning Strikes for those Packrats. We definitely want to get in the situation where we don't have to rely on him attacking into our creatures to get rid of them. We want to be able to deal with them directly. I also should have probably brought in Mizium Mortars. I think that would have been a nice thing to bring in, for things to get around like Grey Merchant or something like that. We took out the Bloods because I don't feel like we didn't really need them. I think we needed to play more of an aggressive route. That starting hand was pretty bad. This starting hand is not even good either. We have a Gruul Guildgate, and I don't really like risking 1-landers, and that one we don't even get any lands, so sadly we have to go down to a 4, which against mono black is pretty much a done deal in my opinion. But you know, this hand would have been nice if we actually had other cards to supplement it, because Gyro Sage and Experiment 1 in the opening hand is one of the sort of the ideal things that I want in my hand at the start. And at least we had 2 mana to play the Gyro Sage as well. Get the Evolve Trigger off, but I don't know if he sideboarded in more removal or he just happened to have a better hand this time, but he does just remove Experiment 1. He knows it's a little bit tougher to deal with it later on, so he just gets rid of it right away because he doesn't want to get that Evolve Trigger off. So he uses a lot of removal this game, and it definitely puts us in a bad situation. So this is one of the sort of the cons of this deck, is it's very susceptible to removal, but it is a creature-based deck, so where one creature dies, we hopefully pull another one that's, you know, still viable, and hopefully we can just produce more creatures than he can produce removal. So we unleash to get that Evolve Trigger off of Gyro Sage, and just swing in for 2. I don't know if I should have bothered playing Rakdos Cackler, but you know, I had to get some threats on the board. He does have Abrupt Decay. He is splashing those that green to get access to even more removal, so it definitely sucks for us. And he gets a really, really nice perfect curve to a Desecration Demon, and that doesn't make our world any better. Desecration Demon, sorry, is something that's just extremely hard for this deck to handle, unless we can produce a lot of mana for a Clan Defiance. Unless we can produce 4 mana for Clan Defiance, but we had no Gyro Sages out there, so we didn't have any way to sort of ramp into a 4 or a big Clan Defiance, which is a little bit hard for us to hit anyways, because you would need 8 mana for Desecration Demon to actually be destroyed. So yeah, Desecration Demon is just overall extremely hard for us to handle with this deck, just because we don't have a lot of direct removal. I wanted to remove the Pack Rat right away, just because I didn't want him to produce a copy of it. But here's where you can see how his opening hand or his draws were just amazing. He had 3 copies of Pack Rat in his hand. He didn't even need to make copies. So yeah, that coupled with the fact he got early Desecration Demon out there was really tough for us to handle, and those are just things you can't really play around. He just got them in his hand, and that was that. So sadly that happened, and we're just so far behind at this point. So we have a Gorehouse Chainwalker, but I don't think that's going to do much. It's not strong enough to block and still be alive unleashed, and so I just unleash it. You know, might as well try and at least be able to get some damage in there. Because even if I do attack, there's no point, because he can just produce another copy of Pack Rat, make him 3/3, and my guy dies. I would trade, but still, it still would be a major loss for me. My board state's just way too far behind at this point, and I'm just pulling lands. I have a dead Clan Defiance in my hand. I might knock out Clan Defiance. I haven't been using it too much. There's just hasn't been a good situation for me to actually use it. If I do actually want to do direct damage, I prefer something like Blood or something along those lines. And generally I want to be a little bit faster with this deck, so I might try experimenting with a couple of things, maybe like Madcap skills or something like that. Just go extremely aggressive, and I have fairly decent cards to actually get me through mid game. So like Rebel Belt Raiders and Renegade Krasis are really nice that go in my deck, and they have good synergy with a lot of the counter evolve triggers I have. So we're pretty much dead here. There's no way we can win. And so we move on to the next game, and hopefully we can pull this one out. So we bring the Mizzy Mortars to just more removal for Pack Rats, and late like for Grey Merchants and stuff like that to get around those, because those are for toughness. So unless we have Gruul Charm, they can block a lot of our guys. We bring in the Ranger's Guile to just sort of give our guys a lot more protection from that spot removal that he was playing. And I decided to take out the, I think, Burst of Strengths. We take out some Gorehouse Chainwalkers, I think, because I didn't feel that they worked out too well. So I also think we pulled a lot of land that we didn't really need to. So I took out a Gruul Guildgate. I felt like not being able to have shock lands in my deck, just, you know, for budget reasons, it really hurts this deck. because it makes it a lot slower and it wants to be at least fairly aggressive and have options open to it. So we mulligan because we only had a one lander, I think, and so we at least can play 2 Gyre Sages, and we have a Gore Clan Rampager to at least swing in for an extra 4 pump if we need to, or if we pull into some more lands, we can play it as a creature and involve both of our Gyre Sages. So we get a 3rd land, which is nice, and so I think at this point I was looking for our 4th land to evolve both of our Gyre Sages, and we do have a Ranger's Gal, which is nice to give our one of our main creatures some spot protection. I'm not too worried about removal here, and there was no point in trying to evolve my Gyre Sage because they don't evolve anyways. So I just try and get some more things on the board for him to deal with. He of course has removal, so he is going to be getting rid of our Gyre Sage. He wants to use that so we don't have to make a choice later on, or have the option to make a choice. We do pull our 4th land. So now here I'm debating on if I actually want to even bother playing Gore Clan Rampager to activate Gyre Sage, because I know how much removal he's running, and I'm sure if I play Gore Clan Rampager, Gyre Sage would probably get removed before I even do anything with it. And I think at this end step he was debating on removing Gyre Sage. He does pause for a little bit, but he decides against it and lets me go on my merry way. So he does get an early Night Veil Spectre out. He curves out really, really well in this 3rd game, and he pulls exactly what he needs to. Now, one of the mistakes that I think I did this game was I think I should have just Clan Defianced a lot earlier than I... Because right now, Clan Defiance is a dead card in my hand. It can't touch Night Veil Spectre at this point. I think what I should have done is maybe play Rebel Belt Maka and get an Evolve trigger off of Gyre Sage, and then just pass the turn. Hopefully he doesn't remove any of my guys, and then Clan Defiance for 3 and kill off his Night Veil Spectre. We have to do something, and I think that should have been something that I should have done, was play it a little bit earlier. But I think I was just trying to find ways to keep at least 1 green mana up to keep Ranger Skull there. That's one thing I need to do, is not be so afraid of removal, as I need to start trying to use my deck and how it's supposed to be and play a little bit more aggressively with it. But I think I was just worried about too much removal, and I ended up being too scared. So we do play a Rebel Belt Maka, and now at this point, since we got the Gyre Sage Evolve trigger off, this is where I make my mistake, and I probably should have just Clan Defiance as early as possible. He Night Veil Spectres us for 2 and gets a forest he can play on his own, which sort of sucks because he can use Abrupt Decays with it. And he gets out a nice curve, thanks to our land, and he plays an early Desecration Demon, which, again, it's just such a good card, and it's just so hard for people to deal with unless they're playing straight removal or exiling, stuff like that. But, being green and red, we don't have access to those kinds of cards, so not really much we can do. I could try splashing for, Chain Death Rocks, but I don't think that would really help out my deck too much. So here is when I should have just sort of got rid of the Night Veil Spectre, and just took the 6 damage from Desecration Demon. But I pulled another Rebel Belt Maka, so I thought maybe I could possibly race him. We do swing in for a nice chunk of damage with the Rebel Belt Pump, because he didn't block with Desecration Demon. But we are going to be taking a good chunk of damage here, I think. Nope, maybe not. I think he leaves his guys back to block. So he's not going to attack, which is sort of nice for us. So this is where especially we should have just got rid of that Night Veil Spectre, because it would have just opened up a lot more. It would have just opened things up a lot more for us, and it would force him to block with Desecration Demon, and we have Gore Clan Rampager, so we can pump Rebel Belt Maka up and just sort of kill off the Desecration Demon that way. That's pretty much the only way we can get rid of Desecration Demon, is to sort of trick him into blocking one of our guys and pumping him up, because Rebel Belt Maka would be a 7/7 and kill off Desecration Demon. So this is what we're hoping, and he does exactly what I want him to do. He blocks Gyre Sage with Night Veil Spectre, and he blocks my Rebel Belt Maka with Desecration Demon. So I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And I have a Ranger's Guile to protect Rebel Belt Maka if he does happen to get Doombladed or something, which he does, but it was expected. This is sort of the turning point in the game. If this wouldn't have happened, we would have won, I think. And I Ranger's Guile my Maka, but he has just enough mana for another answer, and he plays a Golgari charm thanks to the splashing green, and he makes his guy regenerative, so that sucks. And we don't lose our Rebel Butt Maka, but the main point of this play was trying to get rid of the Desecration Demon. So we do get 2 damage in, but it's sort of irrelevant at this point. This is sort of the turning point of the game, and this pretty much costs us. So it was a nice little counter war there. It was sort of fun, but sadly he came out on top with that one. Because at this point, Renegade Crisis as well is not going to do much for us. It's a little bit too weak to do anything, and we have no other creatures to evolve it to get more triggers off of Gyrosage. And of course, playing mono black, he is of course going to have Grey Merchants in his deck, so this is one of the other reasons why I should have gotten rid of his Nightvale Spectre a lot earlier. It would have hurt us a lot less, and he wouldn't have gained so much life. And he wouldn't have been pulling some of our guys that we need. And then just giving us land. So this definitely sucks for us. Now, I still don't bother Clan Defiancing, which is, because at this point it's just sort of irrelevant. We're just going to be taking too much damage. And you can't really play around Grey Merchant with this deck. You know, he has the other Grey Merchant in his hand, I find out later, but sadly I don't think we had any outs with this. If I was wrong, definitely let me know. Definitely let me know. Again, I am still learning a lot about this game, and being a newer player, I definitely am open to suggestions or things like that, and definitely point out where I went wrong. I can find some of them, but, you know, not always. Some of them slip by me. But yeah, I think if we would have won that counter war and killed off the Desecration Demon, then we could have Clan Defiance, killed off the Nightvale Spectre, and Grey Merchant would have been much, much less of a problem, and we would have had at least most of our creatures on the board. And I think at that point we would have won. If we would have killed off that Desecration Demon when we were supposed to, I feel like we would have definitely won this game. And then he just Grey Merchants us for a butt ton of damage. Oops, sorry, take a drink there. So that's the game. Sadly, we didn't pull through, but I definitely hope you guys enjoy watching this, and I hope you guys enjoy the future games. Definitely feel free to leave a comment and or suggestions, and I will definitely talk to you guys later. Have a great day.